You're going to have situations where you might want to comment on different parts of your worksheet. You might want those comments also maybe to display, directly on the worksheet. I mean, right there with everything else. You might also want the comments to end up displaying at the very end of the of a report that you print out. So let's say this worksheet here you print it out and had a few notes on there. You can make it so where it would print out, maybe on one or two pages the worksheet itself, and on the very last page you'll have a reference sheet pointing to various or referencing different cell addresses, and then with whatever the comment was right next to that cell address. So it's pretty cool stuff there to do. It's a great thing to have when you're you want to make some notes and you want to send it off to somebody, and you don't feel like having to, in the email itself, put all of your comments. This way in the email, all you have to do is just say, hey, look at the comments that I've got in the worksheet itself. They can go in there and they can very quickly see the comments and the notes and all that. So here's how we're going to do it. Let's say on this particular cell right here, it turns out that we're not quite sure if that's the right number, and we're going to be sending this worksheet off to somebody via email, and we're going to tell them to make note of all of the notes and comments that we've put in the worksheet here, and this would be one of them. So we go to the cell, and then what you do is you just do a right click on it, all right, and you go down towards the bottom here and you see something there called New Note. So we click onto that. You'll get this thing popping up there. Now, it shows your login name there. If you don't really want to have that, you can actually just kind of backspace it off there and then type in the note that you want, just like that. You can have multiple paragraphs in the note. You could be as long-winded as you want with this thing, right? Don't you love my spelling? All right, looks like a foreign language. Now, what you can do is if you leave it just like that and click away from it, you're going to see like a little red marker in there, I always call it like a Nabisco wedgie up in the corner there. What you can do is you can point to it, and that will then show you the comment. But see, it doesn't show you everything. So what you can do is if you right click it and you go over here to what is called edit the note, then you can see the whole thing, and you can kind of scroll through it if you wanted to. But the better way of making that work right is to resize the rectangle so that nobody has to mess with it. So what you can do here, I'll just start over again here. What you would do is if you did make your note like that and you said, oh, I should have resized it, how am I going to do that now? You just go back to the note, right click it, go down here to edit note, all right? And then all you have to do is just kind of go to these little graphic handles, pull them down, pull them across, and just try to figure out how you want that to present itself. Maybe you want to do something like that, all right? So that would do it. If that was the case, then you click away from it. Now the next time that somebody goes and points to that cell, then it comes up that way. Now on the other hand, if you want to make it even more noticeable, you can make it so where they don't have to point to it, but rather it'll just already be displayed on its own. So the way you would do that is you go back to the cell, you'd right click it, and go down to where it says Show Hide Note. You click onto that. Now when you click away from it, it stays that way. We can go in there as well. We can kind of point right on it. We can move it to a different location like that and do the same thing. The only problem is that you're kind of covering data there. So in the best case scenario or worst case scenario, what you could do is leave it the way it is, or you can actually stretch this all the way over until you're on the edge there and kind of drop it off there if you wanted to. That's kind of crazy, but it's up to you if you want to do that. I would just say, I would just basically not even have it display like that. I would just say, I think they have the sense enough to kind of point to it. And you can even make a note in your email, hey, there's going to be little red markers on cells that have comments. Just point to each of those and see what they say and do something with it, whatever I've instructed. So if you wanted to put it back in that mode, you can just go back to the cell, right-click it, go back there where it says Show Hide Note, and now it's hidden, but now it'll pop up when you do that. Now the other thing you can do too, in addition to this, is you can make the notes that you've put in show up at the end of the report that you print out. So as I was saying before, if this were to print out, let's say in 2 pages, the third page then would have all these notes. So let me just do one more note here real quick. I'll go to this one right here. I'll right click it. I'll say new note. I'll put something in there. All right, click away from it. There we go. Now, how do we make it print out? Well, what you can do is if you go back into, well, you can do a number of different ways. Well, we'll do it this way. We'll go to File, all right? We'll go to Print, all right? And then down towards the bottom there, you'll see the page setup, right? You can click onto that. You go back over to Sheet, all right? And where it says Comments, it says None. You can tell it that I want to print it at the end of the sheet here, right? And at end of sheet means on its own page. The other way to do it would be you could click on it as displayed on sheet, meaning that if you had it displayed like we did earlier, and it was in that one position, then when you go to print it, it will also print in that same position as well on the page, right? But in this case, we're just going to say at end of sheet, right? Now you do that, hit OK, and now if we were to go to print it, and I'm not going to print it right now, but we'll look at the preview here. Well, we have 297 pages, and this thing is to the right side there. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to tell it to go to page 297. So I'm going to type in 297, all right? Enter it in. There's page 297. So page 296 was the last page. We probably could have formatted the printing better, so it wouldn't be so many pages like that. But don't worry about that part. Just note the fact that on the very last page will be your notes here. That's pretty cool. All right. So that's one way. That's one thing that we have there, okay? Now, if you want to get rid of the notes, all you have to do is just right-click that cell and tell it that you want to delete the note. So right-click it, delete the note. Okay. Now, the other thing we have are what we call comments. All right. Now, comment would be something where maybe you're sharing this worksheet, on, using Office 365 or whatever, and a number of people have access to it. They can actually open up the worksheet and put comments, and then other people that are there can leave comments to those comments or replies to those comments, right? Well, first of all, how do we put a comment in? Well, what you do is you say, okay, I want to comment on this for whatever reason. So I'll do a right click on it, all right? And now we have something called new comment. So you click onto that, and it says start a conversation. So I say, well, whatever it is, right? And then I'd hit this little post button here, right? And there it is, right? So now somebody later on might come to the same sheet, that we're sharing with, and they see that little note up there. They kind of point there, and they can see how it has that in there, so they can just go down to where it says reply and put the reply to that, or maybe an additional comment to that, right? Hit the post, and it just keeps on going like that. Now keep in mind that all these comments that you've put in here, put another in here, one more there, all these comments obviously are going to reside on the sheet here with that little marker there, but if you had set it to print on the at the end, like we did the notes, and we have already set that up. So in other words, if we go back into File, go back to Print here, all right, and go to our page Setup, and then go into Sheet, we've got that set for comments at end of sheet. See, so the notes that we did initially are technically referred to as comments, all right? And the comments that we have are referred to comments, obviously. So by having that already turned on, what happens now is that when you go to print, and I'm in here now, I'll just go to page 297 now, and now there are those comments. See, so before we had notes, and if we had notes and comments, and you'd see the same thing going on here with the different cells, with the notes and the comments in here. So that's pretty cool way of referencing and commenting on worksheets, especially if they're part of like a collaborative effort and people are in there making changes, people are in there leaving their comments, their opinions, and that type of thing. It's a great thing to have there. So hopefully this will help. Oh, and by the way, too, if you wanted to get rid of the comment here, we can just go ahead and do a right click on it, delete comment, adios. The other thing I wanted to show you real quick, let me just do something real fast here. If you go to new comment, all right, and we put that in there, right, and then we go ahead and enter that in or post it, and then somebody else goes in there and puts something in and post it, and somebody else puts something in there and post it, all right, you can actually go back there and delete this one, go back there and delete this one, and you can't really delete that one. Unless you, of course, go back there, just do a right click on it and tell it that you want to delete the comment. All right. I think I've covered everything as far as comments and notes. Hopefully you can start using that. I think it's a great tool. It's a lot better than in a worksheet or in a email saying, oh, look on cell B12, blah blah blah. Look on cell B19, blah blah blah. This way you can just say in the email, hey, look on the sheet. There's a number of comments and notes that I need you to take a look at and respond to and react with, right? Or make changes with or whatever. Okay. Again, sorry about that. So take care. Hope you like the video. We'll see you later.